Hey there, Cosmic Warriors, and welcome back to another video. And if you are new here, my name is Hannah. I am a Western Practical Astrologer. All right, so today we are going to be talking all about 2025 for all of you Cancerians out there. Now, before we do dive in, please make sure to like the video, of course, if you do enjoy it, and comment your thoughts and opinions. And make sure to subscribe to keep updated with more content on the channel. Also, if you would like to book a reading with me, you can visit my website, hannahselsewhere.com. There you can also find all of my astrology products if you are interested. Thank you. So just quickly, if your rising sign is Cancer, then this video is directed primarily at you. You're going to perhaps relate more to the information, but I also recommend watching for your sun and moon, particularly for the sun. So if your sun is in Cancer, if you've got a day chart, and then if your moon is in Cancer and you possess a night chart. So the thing is that they all serve different purposes. For example, the sun is about our soul's mission, our soul's journey, and the moon is so much about our emotions. And hey, the moon can shine light on, our unconscious. It can bring up those themes. And then the sun itself is really about our conscious awareness too. Indeed, make sure to watch for all three. That's if you relate naturally. But if there is one video I recommend watching for, it would be for the rising. That would be perhaps the most relatable. Thank you. Happy New Year, Cancerians, to all of you out there. Of course, we're going to be coming into 2025, and the astrological year does not start until Aries season begins. And usually I like to talk about your horoscopes through the perspective of the seasons, but just for 2025, I thought it would be an interesting, fun way to just talk about the year ahead. Still, Happy New Year. We're coming into a whole new calendar year. But for you, Cancerians, what we see here is that whenever 2025 begins, the sun will be in your seventh house, so it's going to be opposing you. So very much a big emphasis there upon things like your client relationships, customers, partnerships, business. We can also look at this as addressing the shadow, addressing those far removed parts of yourself. Even just think about how Pluto has been in your seventh house for the past 16 years. Pluto will have left Capricorn by the new year. So we could say that with the sun being in the seventh, there is some kind of fresh perspective being ushered in, especially based on the life lessons that have been coming up for you with relation to relationships and partnerships over these past 16 years. And then we come to Aries season, right? So this will be when the astrological new year begins. And that means that your 10th house will very much be activated. We're going to be discussing a lot of stuff to do with your 10th house because so much is happening in the sign of Aries throughout 2025. And I actually have a quick message that I want to share about this. Firstly, I wanted to say that for you, Cancer, this is certainly a year of pushing for success. Naturally, yes, both Saturn and Neptune will enter your 10th house. They will then dip back into your 9th house, which we're going to get into. But we could still look at this as a kind of warm up, as a sort of beginning stage of what could very well happen for you when it comes to your career path, when it comes to success, accomplishment, achievement. And hey, we could also just look at this as purpose. What is purposeful to you? doing things with a purpose, and also your life's work. Your life's work is very much under this 10th house. And I've also put down here that with Venus and Mercury both being in Aries and Pisces, and there will be that retrograde. We're going to get into it as well. So this stuff will be happening in your 10th house, ninth house areas. But with those planets, I see Venus and Mercury as a kind of precursor to Neptune and Saturn entering. It's that that Aries Pisces threshold, or perhaps a better way to put it would be to switch them around. It's the Pisces Aries threshold that's really going to be highlighted for us, for everyone this year. But for you, Cancer, this stuff is going to show up when it comes to your belief system, when it comes to your morals, your code of ethics, your teachings, what you share online, thinking about even how you wish to educate yourself further, deepen your understanding, especially when it comes to spiritual subjects, for instance. And long distance travel is a big part of this. Broadening your horizons is a big part of this. Again, with Pisces, it's more of this inner guidance. And then naturally with Aries, this is why I put a year of pushing for success. So indeed, we could see some significant changes within these areas for you, Cancer. Okay, let's then get into each month. And I just want to highlight that this is an overview. We do want to think about the bigger picture, and we want to think about how your chart is going to come first. It's always going to come first. So, on that note, look to your own personal chart, and also we want to consider the actual astrology as we go throughout the seasons, as we talk about the transits, the transitions in more detail. So, January. We kickstart January with Mars being retrograde. So, Mars will be retrograde in Leo from the 6th of December until the 6th of January. This will be activating your second house. So as we enter the new year, as we enter 2025, we have here you then really addressing, reassessing, evaluating, okay, what about my energy levels when it comes to my finances, my physical security? What about my physical security goals? How might I wish to be determined? Or is there something that I haven't quite addressed yet? You have this opportunity to step up to a challenge. It could be an old challenge, an old situation with relation to your financial state there, your financial health, I suppose. And we could also naturally look at this as getting in touch with a new sort of creative vision. But again, it could be something that you revisit tied to the past. And then that can even maybe inspire you or push you forward. So we think about your creativity. And how, with Leo in the second house, Cancer, you do value your creativity. So when we move further on from the 6th of January, and this will last up until the 23rd of February, Mars retrograde will enter your first house. So in your sign, Cancer. So really, this is quite a significant year, I would say, especially as I was mentioning earlier about success, because if you think about it, Aries rules your 10th, Mars is the ruler of your 10th. So I think it would be of a beneficial use to you to take that time when we come into 2025 just to go over, right, what about the next step forward for me? What would I like to create there out in the world? Or what do I feel called toward doing? What is my mission? What is the next significant step? And how does that make me feel? A lot of this is about feeling, intuition, guidance, and we could also look at this as your aims and your goals being highlighted strongly. Hey, this could also be about your physical appearance, your stamina, how you approach new situations. And so, in this regard, yes, we could see some significant changes here to do with your life path. And perhaps as well, there's a part of this tied to stepping outside of the familiar. Maybe Mars retrograde in your sign is going to help you see, okay, where might I be clinging? Where might I be overly attached? What is holding me back, so to speak? But I could also look at it this way, seeing that you can be patient during this time, to show patience, to show some kind of restraint, to maybe show emotional maturity, if you will. And then you can get a sense for a feel for, okay, what is it that I actually want here? How do I wish to make things happen throughout 2025? Another important thing to note is the nodes changing. So the North Node has been in your 10th house since July of 2023. And then the South Node has been in your 4th in Libra. So for the past year and a half or so, Cancer, what we've noticed for you is that you've been easing up on maybe any people pleasing, codependency behaviors and attitudes within your family relationships there. And of course, drawing from talents and gifts related to diplomacy. But then we also see the significant changes to do with striving for leadership roles or striving to follow through with particular plans and to make things happen, to be eager and willing to, I suppose, push and to go after the things that you want. They're standing up for yourself, I would say, especially with relation to your career, with relation to your professional lives. And naturally, we could also see this as highlighting or indicating your public lives. So thinking about what you want to be known for, your reputation. So yes, I would say there has been a striving sort of energy going into these areas over these past 18 months or so. But then as the nodes start to move from the 11th of January for the next set, okay, for the next 18 months, we've got the North Node coming into your 9th, the South Node in the 3rd. So we could look at this as easing up on any super harsh or super critical ways of thinking and maybe over analyzing, this whole analysis paralysis with the South Node maybe being in the 3rd house there. And we could maybe even look at this through a lens of being a fixer, right? Fixing people, feeling as if you need to jump in and to give practical advice. But is it maybe that there's something more uncomfortable beneath the surface there? So it could be that the North Node is asking you to see through any potential distortions or disillusionments as well. We could even look at it this way. Saturn and Neptune have been in your 9th house for a good period of time. And especially with Saturn is more so about, yes, taking responsibility for our projections in Pisces. But we could also look at this as taking responsibility when it comes to those distortions, how we might not see things super clearly. I think Saturn can be a beneficial thing, really, to bring some kind of skepticism or realism to the conversation. But still, with the North Node there in Pisces, hey, it could very well be a huge spiritual chapter for you, even just adding to the spiritual journey that you've been on. It could be a highly enlightening time period for you. Because, I mean, with the ninth house is about our beliefs. And with Pisces, Pisces is a deeply spiritual sign. Maybe it's even about bringing some kind of artistic flair or creative edge to your teachings, to your practice. And something there about movement and flow, and even coming across as a compassionate teacher, as a compassionate mentor, possibly thinking about higher education and how you wish to further things there, right? And again, these things could be more about your creativity. This could be about film or photography, just yeah, something artistic. Hey, perhaps this could even be that you go on certain retreats, especially spiritual retreats, or just travel as a form of escapism. Perhaps this is even about you traveling to certain destinations and countries, and whilst you're in those areas, you experience something very enlightening, or there is a spiritual quality. There's a spiritual element to the experiences that you have there. Maybe you even seek to learn a new language, or hey, this could even be a case of you more so tuning in with symbolism and mythology. Perhaps you even seek to teach about mythology or uh, symbolism in some respects. So, when we further explore Uranus, so Uranus has been retrograde from the 1st of September. It will continue to be retrograde until the 30th of January. So, this is very much in your 11th house of social networks, movements, causes, friendships, groups. So, with Uranus being retrograde, you have had an opportunity to reassess your mindset and how you think within the group, what your unique perspectives are within the group. And you've also had an opportunity, you're currently having an opportunity to just reflect, right? To really reflect on how things have changed for you when it comes to friendships and those bigger group situations. I think about how with Taurus in the 11th, you tend to show up within group settings as being quite patient and calm, as being quite loyal and committed, especially if you see that there is a purpose or a vision. So indeed, we could see Uranus turning direct on the 30th of January as you then moving forward with the things that you've reassessed with relation to those changes. So how you have changed within the group over these past number of months. And even, hey, over these past number of years with Uranus being in your 11th. I think many exciting new chapters and situations have occurred for you when it comes to those group participations. So February, what's happening in February for you, Cancer? Well, we have Jupiter turning direct, and Jupiter has been retrograde from the 9th of October and will continue to be there until the 4th of February in Gemini. Well, here's another nod to spiritual matters, spiritual practices. We especially see with Jupiter being in your 12th, your desire to want to learn about a particular spiritual practice and to be really curious, right? To be curious about it, to identify common patterns or themes, to maybe try and see the bigger picture, to widen your scope a bit there. Now, of course, with Jupiter being in detriment in Gemini and with it in the 12th, maybe certain things have not been so clear, especially with the retrograde. But we could also look at this as really listening to your intuition and being inspired in many ways. We could see this as you feeling into things, sensing things. Maybe even a part of this is to try and not listen to your thoughts, to try and not identify overly a lot with your thoughts, to recognize that you're not your thoughts, right? So maybe a big part of this, indeed, it goes back to those spiritual concepts. But with Jupiter then being retrograde, it has been that opportunity for you to slow it down a bit. Slow it down, just take a closer look, some healthy introspection. Mindfulness has been huge, I think, especially with Jupiter being in Gemini. And then even just taking some time to recover, to rest your mind there, with it being in the 12th. So when Jupiter turns direct on the 4th of February, you will indeed be able to move forward with that greater understanding and clarity and awareness about the next step. And hey, a few months after, Jupiter will enter your sign, and we're going to talk more about it in just a short moment. But Mars, you see, Mars will turn retrograde in your sign on the 23rd of February. Now, I do want you to remember that the post-shadow period of Mars will be from the 23rd of February until the 2nd of May. So just take that time to mull things over, to get clear, extra clear about, okay, right, what about my goals? What am I aiming for? What do I want? What is the next step forward for me here? So, yes, this can maybe indicate this. All right, I can see the next step forward. I have greater clarity about this situation, especially when it comes to maybe the relationship you have with your body, or this could be about your identity, how things may have been changing for you there. And of course, this could also be about just new chapters, new beginnings for you. So, yes, Mars retrograde could be that push forward in some respects. But then we come to March, and March is a very interesting month indeed. A lot is going on in March. So, as I was saying earlier, we've got Venus retrograde and Mercury retrograde happening. They both start from Aries and they go into Pisces. So, once more, this threshold, there's just something about this Pisces Aries threshold that is so it's so vital and significant. And there is this, I feel, ending. There's an ending feeling with the Pisces house, but really a beginning feeling with the Aries house. Of course, there will be more to come in 2026 whenever Saturn and Neptune both move into Aries, where they begin their official transits. But we could still look at 2025 as like a cleaning up period. And so let's go over these retrogrades. So this is just a quick calendar of Venus retrograde. So this will begin from the 1st of March. Then we have Mercury retrograde beginning on the 15th. Then we've got Venus moving into Pisces on the 27th of March, and Mercury will then move into Pisces on the 29th. And then we also have Neptune on the move, Neptune entering Aries on the 30th. So what is this all about for you, Cancer specifically? Right, so as a reminder, the Venus retrograde itself is from the 1st of March until the 12th of April. So what we see for you from, if we go from the 1st of March until the 27th of March, Venus retrograde in your 10th. So this will be a good opportunity for you to go over, right, what about my creativity here and how that shows up within the public, amongst the public? What about how I socialize? You know, it's interesting because Mercury is about communication, but Venus is about socializing. You know, Venus is about collaboration and how we really wish to be like a counterpart within a situation, or how we wish to come together as a unit. So Venus retrograde could be this opportunity for you to reassess, right? Okay, what is the message here that I am, especially with Mercury involved, but what is the message that I'm trying to convey? But also, how does that relate, right? How do people relate to my message? How do I maybe inspire other people with my message? And how do other people inspire me? This could also be a significant time when it comes to career relationships, professional relationships. And we could also see this through a lens of friendship and community coming into the equation. Plus, we could look at this as Venus being in detriment, of course, in Aries. And so, with Venus being in detriment, the kind of likability, the more collaborative, cooperative part of Venus, it's a bit more challenging because Aries is more self-focused, right? We're going to see this with so much Aries energy happening in the stars. It is more about individuality, authenticity, but we could maybe see this as a bit of a blend, right? Where a part of the Venus retrograde will be about your individual message and about your kind of yourself project. So how you project yourself there amongst the public, the things that you wish to achieve when it comes to your personal goals and your career path. But I think Venus will also serve as a reminder that other people are a part of your journey, and so maybe there will be a kind of a way for you to reassess these things. Maybe even reassessing your financial desires and what you wish to achieve there for the long haul as well, with Venus retrograde in the 10th. Then when Venus retrograde enters your 9th house in Pisces from the 27th of March until the 12th of April, well, I want you to think about how Neptune and Saturn have been in your 9th house for these number of years. So there has been something that you've been building or working toward when it comes to things like higher education, teaching, broadcasting, publishing, promotion, these areas. Again, we could think about this through a lens of travel. But with Venus then being retrograde, you could then maybe reassess, right? What do I really value about what I've been building? And what about the financial opportunities there too? What financial opportunities are available to me? Now, with Venus being exalted in Pisces, there is this sense of compassion and beauty and kindness. It's a very romantic Venus sign, with Venus being in Pisces, very sensitive perhaps toward other people's needs there. There's a tenderness to Venus in Pisces. So we could even see this as you taking a closer look at, okay, well, how can my message be tender? Or how can my message be compassionate or healing? Or perhaps it's more about your own sense of healing and self-compassion and self-forgiveness, especially when we think about how the 9th house is also about our deeply held beliefs. So indeed, you might reassess and revisit these areas with Venus retrograde entering your 9th Cancer. Then with Mercury retrograde, well, Mercury retrograde will be from the 15th of March until the 7th of April. Mercury retrograde will be in Aries from the 15th of March until the 29th of March. So this part of the retrograde will be about you reassessing communication within professional settings. Thinking about conversations that you have with bosses or managers, or thinking about how you can show up in a communicative way. Being a bit of a leader, a trailblazer, a bit of a pioneer, how you wish to even push for success in some respects, but perhaps there's just something about educating yourself or revisiting an educational matter, or it could be about information that comes through from the past, such as you waiting, maybe waiting for some sort of important document to get to you. For instance, this could be something like waiting for a qualification that gives you the credentials to be able to speak on a particular subject. And then Mercury retrograde will enter Pisces from the 29th of March up until the 7th of April. And so, with that part of the retrograde, this will be an opportunity for you to go over, right, what about my visions and my dreams and my fantasies? What about my spiritual beliefs and concepts? What do I actually believe in here? What about my imagination? You can dive into your imagination or come to terms with how you wish to create, or this could be some discovery, like an old discovery, an old way that you used to dream or visualize. And that can maybe inspire you in a whole new light. You can bring those visions, you can bring those insights, those curiosities into that of your professional lives, especially when Mercury does start to move forward and re-enters the 10th. What I'm just really getting here for you Cancerians is with the 9th house activations, this is about you gaining more knowledge. Okay, gaining knowledge, wanting to learn more, to further your mind. And then you can bring what you've been learning about, gaining knowledge about, you can bring that stuff into that of your professional lives, your career. Then what do we see here? We see the eclipses happening, one of which will be the solar eclipse in your 10th. Now, the lunar eclipse in Virgo will happen in your 3rd house on the 14th of March. So that eclipse will be about significant closings, endings, releases, just this letting go influence to do with, for instance, excessive worry. This could be excessively criticizing yourselves, picking yourselves apart, possibly. We could also look at this as letting go of any unhelpful ways of maybe communicating or piecing information together. Or perhaps we could see this as you letting go of the fixer mentality, especially fixer mentality with respect to siblings, cousins, immediate family members. Naturally, there will be more to the lunar eclipse in Virgo. Of course, even with Virgo, Virgo is certainly a sign of service, healing. There is an alchemist feel or influence to Virgo, where we get rid of what doesn't work, what doesn't serve us. So indeed, we could see this as you even being able to polish up your communication skills in some way, shape, or form. And keep in mind too that the moon is your ruler Cancer. So we're just focusing on the eclipses for 2025, but indeed with the moon being your ruler, the influence of the moon is perhaps going to it's going to show up for you in quite a prominent way. Then we also turn our focus to the solar eclipse in Aries on the 29th of March. Which, by the way, the solar eclipse will be happening whilst the retrogrades are occurring. So we're going to see here notable new chapters to do with your career efforts, or to do with long-term success, to do with leadership. And perhaps a big part of it too is authenticity. Think about even with the North Node being in your 10th house over the past 18 months, you've been called to be really very authentic about your career path or about success. You've been called to be honest with yourself, to be true, right? To stay true to yourself. And I just further want to say that this solar eclipse will be the final eclipse within the Aries Libra axis. So there is also a finalizing quality and ending quality to that solar eclipse in the 10th house. So think about how, again, the 4th and the 10th houses over these past 18 months, how matters have changed for you with relation to your family identity and your career identity, your public persona, and your living situation. Furthermore, Neptune enters your 10th. So Neptune is going to enter your 10th house on the 30th of March. Cancer. So Neptune in the 10th should be quite an interesting transit for you. Of course, this is just going to be like an introduction to Neptune being in your 10th, and then by 2026, Neptune will begin its full term transit there. But this could be really exciting for you, actually, when it comes to your creativity and your artistic practices. This can be great for greater artistic vision and maybe even exploring in a more fluent or in a more fluid way, in a more flexible, adaptable way, where you feel like you're being called. And a lot of this will be about the self, right? About self-reflection, being able to contemplate how authentic you're being, or even a part of that will be to surrender a part of your own identity, so to speak, to surrender a part of yourself as a way to help others, as a way to serve others, as a way to maybe give back in a very generous way. And naturally, with Neptune can be about the fantasy world. There can be some levels of escapism. So, hey, I would suggest here to try and be cautious of using work as a way to escape, okay? Or to be cautious of getting caught up in certain distortions and fantasies and wishful thinking to do with your professional lives in some respects too. Even be cautious of particular things being projected onto you, or of course, this could also be you projecting your own visions and fantasies onto the public in some way too. So yes, be mindful of those things, but we will talk more about Saturn also entering the 10th in just a moment, because there's more to the story. April. We come to April. So with April, we have Mercury turning direct on the 7th, and then Venus turning direct on the 12th. So Mercury will turn direct in Pisces, Venus will turn direct in Pisces. So April will be a good opportunity for you to, okay, it's time to get moving forward based on what I have learned. So a lot of the reassessing and the reviewing and the evaluating stuff to do with your beliefs, to do with your wider visions and higher education and how you're maybe teaching, how you're maybe sharing your message. Broadcasting falls under this house, publishing falls under this house, promotion. So indeed, we could see you maybe moving forward with more of a feeling of, okay, well, this is what intuitively I feel called to do, or intuitively I feel is the right path for me. And the thing to further mention is just remember the post-shadow periods. So I'll just highlight those now. We have the post-shadow period of Mercury being from the 7th of April until the 26th of April. So that short window, just mull things over. There could be other little things that maybe you didn't think about, or you didn't quite catch or realize. It could be that there's even something about greater self-awareness. And then from the 12th of April until the 16th of May, that will be the post-shadow period of Venus. So similar message there. Just take that time to maybe keep in mind that there could be other things that come up, or it could be that things will click into place as You move throughout the post-shadow periods. Then we come to May. So what is in store for you May 2025? Well, here's the thing. Pluto will re-enter Aquarius on the 19th of November. And so from the 19th of November up until the 4th of May, we have Pluto in your 8th house direct. So with Pluto being in the 8th, yes, this kind of transit can bring up a lot of stuff. And for example, this could be shadow work. This could be addressing your unconscious, especially considering the unconscious and how that's maybe linked to detachment, maybe how it's linked to groups and friendships, team efforts. We could also see this as some transitions and transformations with respect to joint financial planning, shared resources there. But I think in Aquarius, there's still that independent streak. Maybe a part of Pluto in Aquarius will bring up potential fears um, related to getting super close with people or being vulnerable with people. Maybe this is even showing up as being in a therapeutic setting within the group, right? So this could be group therapy, for example. Maybe, hey, this is about you exploring divination, thinking about the tarot, Reiki, thinking about astrology as well. There could be newfound insights there to do with these very areas, and maybe you're going to come at those particular areas from a view of could be science, or it could be about originality, doing something that's different, doing something that maybe sets you out from apart from the crowd in some respects too, with Pluto in Aquarius in the 8th. But indeed, we could just see this as you diving much deeper into those particular subject areas. It could even be about the paranormal, right? So we think about the 8th house and how it can rule over the paranormal, the occult. It can rule over the taboo, thinking about taboo-like subjects. So yes, Pluto in the 8th could very much indicate you heavily transforming when it comes to your understanding of those areas and doing a lot of research, actually. Maybe taking quite a while to become informed or up to speed. And hey, you know what? Intimacy could also be a big part of it too. So anyway, with Pluto turning retrograde, you're going to have an opportunity to just go over, right? How have things transformed so far? What about my inner growth here? How do things truly sit with me when it comes to these areas? Whenever I think about how much I've been diving deep, what's been coming up for me? How have I faced my shadows? Have I worked with my unconscious? And a big part of it is drawing from your own personal power too. So yes, it's about being able to go back in to see, right, any changes I want to make, anything that I haven't looked at yet, I haven't faced yet, you'll have that opportunity to go back in, to dive even deeper. So Saturn, like I was saying earlier, Saturn's going to also be entering the 10th. So Saturn's going to come along and join up with Neptune in your 10th. So whilst Neptune is sort of this part of it that says dreams and fantasies, visualizations, imagination, you can sort of drift off, you can be enchanted, you can be idealistic with Neptune. Well, Saturn is going to come along and say, well, let's try to be somewhat disciplined. Let's try and create some form of order and structure. Naturally, Neptune will be this dissolver at the same time. So It's going to be an interesting combination with both of these planets, because whilst Neptune might dissolve, uh, Saturn can build. Hey, we could also look at this as them working together as a unit, right? So Saturn can be that bringer of healthy barriers and boundaries and commitment and hard work, especially showing up here within your professional lives, Cancer, or within your professional life, Cancer. But Neptune then can show up as, well, you know, really, I'm not inspired. This doesn't inspire me, or that needs to dissolve. There needs to be some kind of surrender here. I don't want to have to work as hard there. I don't think I should have to put that much into something to get very little out. Or this could be about making things beautiful, making things lovely, and oh my gosh, this could really be here, Cancer, that you're going to produce some of your best artistic results because not only will Saturn be this influence of doing the work, Neptune will bring this vision, this color, this desire, this creativity that's going to be so dreamy. And with Aries, I mean, Aries is very much a sign of creativity and freedom and adventure. So, yes, we could even see this as you being very driven when it comes to these things, very passionate when it comes to these things, maybe being quite active when it comes to the things you want to succeed within. This is why I was saying that this is certainly a year where you're going to push for success, Cancer. Amazing. But June, let's talk about June, because here's the other really beautiful thing that we love to see, Cancer, is that on the so when Jupiter enters, let me just look through my notes. So Jupiter is going to enter your first house on the 9th of June and will be there for the next year. So what we have in store for you is this very expansive energy going into that of your life path and your goals and your aims. And even Jupiter, right? Jupiter can be about um following our conscience and our moral compass, and there's guidance involved. So I feel like you're going to be truly guided next year. And a lot of it, I think, will be about certain goals related to family, emotional security. This could be about even housing, property, maybe real estate will be on your radar, or travel, right? Maybe traveling with the intention of relocating, or this could just be about just traveling overall and feeling this real call to do so. Emotionally speaking, it's like your emotions are being um, influenced in a way by all the things that you want to experience, all the possibilities. And keep in mind that Jupiter is exalted. It's exalted in Cancer in your sign. So, indeed, we could see this as you just feeling so inspired. Could even be a time period where you feel quite uplifted or quite positive or very hopeful about the future. Hey, we could also look at this as traveling for work purposes, because Sagittarius is in the 6th house. We could even see this as you being invited to certain conferences or gatherings and meetings there. Maybe this is even about because of a promotion or because of an exciting new work venture. Then that can open you and your family up to new opportunities too. Ooh. Now, before we move further, just one more quick thing I would like to mention if we go back a moment. I have been touching on this for all of the signs throughout, and I'm just going to say it quickly. We'll talk more about it in 2026. And I know I'm maybe jumping ahead of myself, but anyway, there will be the same degree conjunction of Saturn and Neptune on the 19th of February 2026. So that's going to usher in a new 35-year cycle. So for you, this cycle is going to be tied in with the leadership, pioneering, enterprise stuff to do with your successes and your purpose greatly there. So yes, there will be that conjunction which will occur next year. So we do want to think about even the lead up to that and what could come in 2026 for you. So let's now move on to July. Okay, so that's June. Now we're going to move on to July. What's happening for you then? July 2025. Okay, so here we go. We have Neptune retrograde happening from the 4th of July until the 10th of December. So there will be that period of Neptune retrograde being in your 10th house. Just consider then with Neptune retrograde, it will be your opportunity just to go over, right? Okay, how can I maybe reflect on my dreams and my visions to do with my professional life, to do with my reputation? Perhaps this is about trying to come to terms with reality a little bit, assessing your own distortions. We could even look at this as you taking a closer look at what is real versus what is wishful thinking. And we could also look at this through a lens of, okay, 10th house, long-term success, long-term goals. But with Neptune retrograde, it's about maybe taking that time to refocus a bit, to center yourself. And there could be some new messages or insights that come up for you, right? Then we come into Uranus. Right. So Jupiter has been hanging out in your 12th house for the past year. And we discussed that earlier with Jupiter in the 12th. And we could look at this through a lens of maybe educating yourself about a certain spiritual subject, just as an example. But Uranus is going to come, and Uranus will enter your 12th house on the 7th of July. So this will be a good way to think about, okay, innovation. There could be something innovative, something exciting, and very electrifying to do with those spiritual matters, those spiritual subjects. We could also see this as unexpected changes and shifts to do with maybe your alone time, retreating, getting clear on things. Originality becomes a big part of this. Uniqueness becomes a part of this. And breakthroughs, my goodness, there could be major spiritual breakthroughs that occur for you. Now, we want to think about this maybe in terms of your inner life, right? So this could be more so an inner experience, but we could also perhaps look at this in terms of fantasy, film, acting, modeling, photography, right? We could see this through art and graphics, design, so Uranus coming into the 12th in Gemini could also invite pretty exciting new opportunities or unexpected shakeups and breakthroughs to do with your fantasies and your visions in this regard. Yes, and hey, could even be some major technological shifts that occur, maybe because of something that's invented or because of a new communication um, situation that occurs. So basically, that communication product or event happens whilst Uranus is in Gemini, and then that inspires you. That even gives you access to new ideas, to new ways of doing things. Okay. Saturn then will also turn retrograde. So that will be from the 13th of July until the 27th of November. So we want to think about with Saturn being retrograde, it's just about slowing it down a bit and being able to come to terms with, right, what do I really value? What do I want to build when it comes to my career life, my career path? And what do I want to pursue here? So with Saturn coming into the 10th, maybe you'll get a sense of, okay, what could be or what plans you want to make, how you wish to structure things, how you wish to show up responsibly. But Saturn retrograde will just be, okay, let me just go over that. Let me just address maybe things from the past, or let me just clean things up, tie up some loose ends, right? Tie up some loose career ends there, Cancer. Mercury will also turn retrograde from the 18th of July until until the 11th of August. So Mercury retrograde will happen in your second house. Even think of it this way. Mars at the beginning of the year. Mars will be retrograde as a reminder from the 6th of December until the 6th of January in your second house. So that is the part of it where you're going over, right, my energy levels, my willpower, my drive, how do these things manifest or show up when it comes to my earnings and my resources and my spending habits, my physical security. But Mercury will be more so about your thoughts and how you wish to maybe educate yourself further. Could be even a good opportunity for you to go over an old practice, an old study, an old way of educating yourself. Or perhaps this is about you revisiting these matters for creative purposes, for creative reasons. Could even be a case of you revisiting an old script or an old creative project that you were once interested in. So because you reassess it or you take another look at it, maybe that even provides you with new insights. And you, of course, can bring that information forward. You can carry it forward into helping you with your resources or with earning money. But you see, so we come into August, on the 11th of August, Mercury will turn direct. So that will actually be when you do move forward with the things that I just discussed. But do keep in mind the post-shadow period. So the post-shadow period will be from the 11th of August until the 25th. So that window, that time, just take it as a beneficial thing. Take it as a time to mull things over, to tie up a few loose ends, and to gain greater clarity. But then we come into September, and by September, Saturn will have entered Pisces. So Saturn retrograde will have entered Pisces by the 1st of September, where it will be for the rest of its transit. Well, for the rest of its retrograde period as well. So this is also about taking a closer look at what you've been building, what you've been working toward when it comes to things like teaching mentorship, when it comes to mythology, symbolism, spirituality. We could also look at this through a lens of the kinds of impact that you've already made. What structures and foundations have you already laid? But we could also look at this through a lens of maturity, right? Maturity, responsibility, breaking certain cycles, things coming to an end, coming to a close. Perhaps this is further about your higher meaning, right? What is meaningful to you? This could even be about higher education, training programs. So, yes, there's something that you've been working toward building when it comes to these areas. So Saturn retrograde re-entering Pisces, it's just another way for you to see, okay, well, what did I not see the last time? What did I miss the last time? Maybe there's some more clarity, or there's another perspective that could come through, or there's an older perspective. And so because you revisit it, that can be of assistance to you. Then Uranus will also turn retrograde. So this will happen from the 6th of September until 2026. So Uranus retrograde will begin from Gemini. So with Uranus being retrograde, well, that's going to give you an opportunity to just take a step back and go, right, well, how has things changed already with respect to my dreams and my visions, and what unexpected shifts have maybe occurred so far? How can I get clearer about those things? And what about my unique mindset? What about my intuition? How might I trust it or not trust it? Or this could show up as you reassessing and reevaluating any innovation and inventiveness that has been happening behind the scenes. So yes, you can just take a closer look, take your time, get clearer. You just might discover a few things which can be helpful. Then we come to another eclipse season. Again, the moon is your ruler. We've got the lunar eclipse in Pisces happening on the 7th of September, and then the solar eclipse in Virgo on the 21st of September. So something here about the lunar eclipse is that, hey, there could be a belief situation, an educational situation, philosophical situation that is eclipsed out. And perhaps a part of the reason for why this is because of surrender. It's because of you letting go. And then with the solar eclipse happening on the 21st of September, this is an opportunity to embrace a notable change, a significant new chapter with relation to your analytical skills, your communication skills. For instance, if it is here, Cancer, that you would like to write a book, publish a novel, if you would like to provide practical advice through the research that you've been doing, or you would like to even extend uh, your practical advice and insights through social media, maybe as a way to help or to be of service. Well, this is an eclipse that could very well welcome new chapters there. Naturally, do keep in mind that things will progress more as time goes on as well. So October. What will October bring? Well, October is going to bring Pluto turning direct, right? So we've discussed with Pluto retrograde, it's a good opportunity for you to look at transformation and to revisit your shadow, or to reclaim your personal power, or to even integrate parts of the shadow in some ways too when we think about it, but diving into your depths here. Therefore, you can move forward as Pluto turns direct, and you can implement maybe some of the things that you re-explored, that you reassessed. Maybe that's even where the real integration is going to happen for you with Pluto turning direct. Then we have Neptune retrograde entering the 9th. We discussed previously with Neptune retrograde in the 10th, but with Neptune at this point of the year coming into your 9th, this is about you addressing, okay, what about my beliefs? How might I be even lying to myself? How might I be confused or not really sure? How can I face my illusions? How can I face my distortions? This is an opportunity for you to go back in to address how certain boundaries may need to be established. Keep in mind that Saturn will also be there. So Saturn can be that supportive structure presence at the same time to help you face the reality of the situation. Again, we want to think about this information and how it shows up when it comes to your deeply held beliefs, when it comes to uh, your morality and your code of ethics. And again, we think about things like broadcasting and publishing and advanced training. Maybe even a part of it will be about legal matters, right? You'll address heavily legal matters there in some way, shape, or form. November. Okay, so November we have Uranus retrograde then entering the 11th again in Taurus. So this will be from the 7th of November. So we were saying with Uranus retrograde being in the 12th, there's that part of it, but with Uranus retrograde coming into the 11th, this is about you being able to gain greater clarity, a greater, clearer perspective about those group involvements once more. Yes, you could very well get clearer on what you value within the team, what you value within communities that you're a part of. I think even with Uranus being in your 11th house here, Cancer, for these past number of years, things have unexpectedly happened when it comes to friendships and teams and group participations. Some have been uh, jarring and shocking, but others have been politely and lovingly surprising, where certain friendships have just blossomed out of nowhere, it seems. And maybe even a part of it is you starting your own community or club or group. So Uranus retrograde coming back into Taurus in the 11th will be a good way for you to reassess these areas and to maybe be surprised once again. Then we come to Mercury. So the final Mercury retrograde of 2025, that will be from the 9th of November until the 29th of November, starting in your 6th house. So Mercury retrograde will be in your 6th from the 9th of November until the 18th of November. So this part of the retrograde, that will be a good way for you to become more clear, get more clear about your services, about what the message that you are delivering through your services, or how you wish to educate yourself further. Or again, I feel as if this is another nod to education for you and taking another look at previous educational matters and studies, things like that. And we've discussed a lot of educational stuff throughout your horoscope. But this could also be about revisiting revisiting conversations that you have with coworkers. Maybe there is some coworker dynamic or a colleague situation that you would like to get more clear about. And then as Mercury retrograde enters the 5th for you in Scorpio, well, this part of the retrograde from the 18th of November until the 29th of November, this could more so be about taking another look at your hobbies, your creativity, thinking about old creative projects and passions and interests. This could also be about revisiting older conversations based on children and sex, thinking about intimacy within your romantic relationships. These things could come up. Then we also see that Jupiter will turn retrograde from the 11th of November up until 2026. So that will happen in your first. So when we think about the opportunities, the expansion, the growth to do with Jupiter coming into your first house, and how those things will play a role when it comes to your aims, your goals, your identity, your approach to life, thinking about new beginnings in this regard for you, Cancer. Well, just take that time to take some time to maybe see, right, does this fit well with me? Does this suit me? Am I really interested in this new opportunity? Maybe there's something I didn't quite look at before. Maybe there's some kind of talent or gift that I didn't recognize, and I can revisit that and hold space for that. Indeed, this is about introspection. This is about being able to reflect more on your growth so far. Then, as we move on to the 27th of November, coming to the end of November, Saturn turns direct in your 9th, Cancer. So you're going to get more clear about achievement and accomplishment and recognition to do with things like teaching and broadcasting and higher education. Yes, I think you can move forward with a greater vision, with greater clarity about how you wish to do things and how you can show up then more publicly. Again, we go back to Saturn and Neptune coming back into Aries by 2026, and you're going to carry over all of the educational learning stuff and belief system stuff, the travel stuff, travel experiences, all the rest of it, opening your mind up, expanding your consciousness, all of the self-exploration stuff to do with the 9th house. And so, yes, you can carry all of that over into your professional lives, your occupation, well, more so your vocation with the 10th, and even just thinking about how you can bring those insights to your very reputation, how your reputation may change because of your ability to reflect, to do all that, uh, the introspection stuff with Pisces. Then we come to December. December. And what do we have here? Neptune turning direct as well. So we're also going to see greater clarity about your dreams, your illusions. And once more, we could look at this as you carrying over those messages and those insights into how you show up publicly, professionally. And, maybe even a big part of this is that you're very, it's like your worldviews. Your worldviews are going to change because you take that time to go within, right? With Pisces, it's about inner wisdom, inner guidance. So with both Saturn and Neptune coming back into Pisces, with Venus and Mercury also being a part of this more at the beginning of the year in Pisces, there's just a lot to do with your belief systems, your worldviews, your message, right? The message that you want to convey, that you want to present to the world. I just think what you share, what you broadcast, what you deliver, what you publish, and all these things are going to really change for you again because you take that time to get clear. You take that time to get clear about your spirituality, about your imagination, your dreams, your creativity, all these things. And so indeed, you can move forward after that honest time period of reflection. Okay, Cancer, this has been 2025 for you. Thank you all so much for listening. I do just want to say that We will talk more about the astrology as we go through each season. But if you would like to book a reading with me, you can visit my website, hannahselsewhere.com. Of course, we all have our own personal chart, which is certainly going to change things. And if you did enjoy this presentation today, you can always buy me a coffee, but there is never any pressure to do anything. Just thank you for listening, and I hope that you have found the information to be helpful. This has been the overview of 2025 for you, Cancer. Make sure to comment, like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I will talk to you in the next video. Bye!